Hey everybody, my name is Brendan Kumasaka, and today I will be doing my senior capstone proposal presentation about the evolution of transmission through technology. So just a little bit of information about me. My name, Brendan Kumasaka. I actually went to Waipawa High School. Even though I grew up in Mililani, I transferred over to play baseball and to do early college over there. My program of study is creative media, and my concentration is just general creative media. And I am a four-year student at University of Hawaii at West Oahu. And just a little bit more background information just about me outside of school. I love to bowl. That's actually something I picked up starting this year. I also am a PPT. I'm a paraprofessional tutor for ELL students, English language learners at a local elementary. So I love doing that when I'm not doing schoolwork. And I also love creating gaming content in my free time and like making content, posting videos on YouTube and that kind of stuff. So just a summary of what's going to happen during my presentation. What I'll be talking about my plans for my senior capstone project. I plan on just launching like a social media campaign by cross-promoting on TikTok, YouTube, and Instagram, kind of leading back to my background of already creating gaming content and cross-promoting for that. And I'll talk about more about that in like my deliverables. Secondly, I'll also be talking about my thesis statement. I'll kind of briefly go over it and explain that. And then my objective rationale on the research being conducted, I'll kind of explain the significance of my research, why it's important and why it's relevant in like today's day and age. And then I'll also be addressing the significance of my project for my research. Like I'll go over the significance there and even the deliverables, what I plan on doing this coming fall. So my thesis statement is this research. Wait, can I minimize this? Okay. This research examines how the spread of germs through technology has changed from the 20th to the 21st century, focusing on the evolution of technological design, usage patterns, and hygiene awareness. So, kind of why I wanted to do this project was because growing up, my parents were like kind of how can I say this? They really wanted to like make sure that I wouldn't like get my hands dirty. I would always stay clean. They would always try and wipe down surfaces, even before all this COVID and kind of stuff. So that kind of shaped me into the person who I am today. Like I'm even a little bit of like a germaphobe because of that. Like I don't like getting my hands dirty. I like always having hand sanitizer on me, trying to stay clean. And it's kind of funny because I work with students, right, part time, and I'm always face to face with them, helping them at a close range. So I do love my job, but I also try to make sure that I'm um practicing proper hygiene and staying clean throughout that because students can be sick, especially at a young age. And this kind of ties together how I wanted to just research further on like how technological devices, but even public environments can have so much bacteria. And I'll go through more of that in my significances as well. So my objective for the research being conducted, the objective of this research is to better understand how bacteria and germs spread through technology, things like phones, keyboards, by looking at data from the 20th and the 21st century. So I kind of wanted to see how back the growth of bacteria and germs spreading, how as technology advances from the 20th century to the 21st century, like I wanted to see if there's like a correlation to see like, okay, maybe if there's like technologies advancing, maybe the spread of germs and bacteria also increases because maybe there's like more shared devices in like workplaces or, it's things places like hospitals or even like when I work in a school, students are sharing computers or even other things like that. So I kind of wanted to see if there's a correlation there. It also looks at changes in how people use devices, how often they clean them, and how technology has affected the spread of germs. This research also explores ways to make devices cleaner and safer using things like special materials or cleaning methods. So I kind of wanted to research a solution of what I could possibly do to make a difference and spread awareness about bacteria and germs on technological devices in different environments, like I said, in schools or institutions, workplaces, or public areas in general. And then, so by learning from the past and present, this study hopes to help schools, hospitals, and workplaces, public areas in general, to reduce health risks and improve hygiene when using technology. So that kind of reiterates how I want to just spread awareness by making the world a healthier and safer place by just combating the spread of germs and bacteria, just from the everyday person. Okay, so for my senior capstone plans, at the end of the capstone semester, I plan to launch a social media campaign to spread awareness about how germs and bacteria spread through everyday technology, like phones, tablets, and keyboards, or just, technology in general. I want to use my background in making content to make engaging videos and post to just spread awareness about my topic. Hopefully, I can reach out to a wider audience out there. And the goal of this campaign is to educate people on simple hygiene practices and encourage regular cleaning of devices to reduce health risks. By using social media, I hope to reach a wide audience and make the information easy to understand, practical, and shareable, especially for people like students, educators, and professionals who rely on technology every day. And I'll it's funny because I'll take advantage of technology, but more specifically social media, to spread awareness about germs on technology, hopefully to like a wider audience across multiple different social media platforms, just trying to reach out to as much people as I can. That's why I specifically chose like Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube because they're very well known for like just spreading information and just creating content. And like I said, I'll get into that more in my deliverables as well. So going into my significances, the first one is public health protection, right? So researching and spreading awareness about how germs spread through commonly used devices like phones, tablets, and keyboards helps reduce the risk of infections, especially in shared environments like schools, offices, and hospitals. So I think a lot of people actually underestimate how much bacteria and germs can spread in public areas. And I kind of want to address that problem and kind of inform people and educate people on what they can do to kind of prevent this and how they can just practice better hygiene. So, for my future implications, as more people become aware of the role that technology plays in spreading germs, they may adopt better hygiene practices, leading to lower transmission rates of common illnesses such as colds, flus, and other viruses. We saw this a lot with COVID. I just want to spread awareness, and especially during that time, people didn't really know what to do, right? During COVID, there was a lot of like people just trying to share what they needed to do to stay safe. I kind of want to do that even now, even though COVID isn't as big of a thing compared to like back in 2019. But I just want to help people be more conscientious about keeping devices much cleaner. And over time, this could result in improved overall public health, fewer sick days, decreased healthcare costs, and increased productivity. For example, it could influence technology designs, encouraging companies to create more self-sanitizing devices. I really love that because you don't have to really touch anything. You can just use like a motion censored self-sanitizing device and it'll like give you some hand sanitizer just to stay clean. And I think it's just gonna help a lot of people just be healthier, get sick less often, like I said. But it could also inspire people to innovate new ways to keep public areas a lot cleaner and just practice proper hygiene on a more advanced level. And then for my second significance, is actually a lack of awareness. So I kind of addressed this a little bit earlier, but I feel like many people don't realize how dirty their devices can be or how often they should be cleaned. By spreading awareness, I can help people become more mindful of their habits and hygiene around technology. And so sometimes all it takes is just like a short video on like TikTok or Instagram or YouTube Shorts, right? A lot of people spend a lot of time on TikTok, right? Just like swiping, scrolling, looking at all these new things, right? So even like if they just look at my video and just like it can just open their eyes right then and there, it could potentially save their life from getting sick from like something even worse, right? And some future implications as people learn more about how technology spread through everyday or as people learn more about how bacteria spread through everyday technology, they may be more likely to adopt consistent cleaning habits and share that knowledge with others. So I think this kind of relates to my previous future implications by just making sure that people adopt better cleaning habits and just, wiping things down, keeping clean, and just getting rid of all that germs and bacteria from, getting into their systems, right? This could lead to worldwide improvements in hygiene standards, integration of this topic into health and science curriculum, and even influence school and workplace policies related to clean technology usage. Ultimately, it fosters a more health conscious society that takes proactive steps to prevent the spread of germs. So, this kind of ties back into one of my goals for wanting to do this project. I just kind of want to try and make a world a healthier and cleaner place, no matter where the viewers are watching from. It can be in the United States, outside the United States, from Hawaii, not from Hawaii, or it doesn't even matter like what they're doing throughout the day because they're probably going to be encountering some type of surface that could potentially have like bacteria and germs. So I think the significance of this project, just spreading awareness, is going to be very important just to inform and educate people. So just some data right here. I just have a simple graph. It's actually interesting because I found this graph and it's actually talking about how your smartphone can harbor 20 times more bacteria than a public toilet. So it's actually measuring bacteria on all types of surfaces, CFU over inches squared. What that kind of means, CFU over inches squared stands for colony forming units per square inch. It's basically like a unit of measurement used to quantify the number of microorganisms, such as like bacteria or germs that's present on a surface. So when it's talking about like 25,000 on like the surface of an iPhone, that's like quite a bit compared to like a toilet, toilet, right, you can see there's only like 1,200. But even like a door handle or even like a keyboard is actually more than a toilet or even a sink. And some people, that might blow them away. It might not be that believable, but it's actually pretty interesting when I read about this. And I was like, wow, like a smartphone device really have more bacteria than like a toilet seat? So I think it's very important that, just looking at a simple graph like that, or like a data sheet, it's it's pretty mind-opening. So if I were to like create some type of video or a post and really open people's eyes to that kind of statistic, it can be pretty interesting. And as you can see on the bottom, 20 times more bacteria than a toilet seat, 3 times more bacteria than an average door handle. So I thought it was pretty interesting, and I wanted to kind of share that today. So for my target audience, I want to like the target audience for this topic includes the general public, especially smartphone users who may not realize how much bacteria their devices carry. That kind of relates to what I was just talking about from the data. I feel like this target audience is probably the one I'm going to target the most, probably because as you guys saw from the graph, like how much bacteria and germs can really be on smartphones. So I think they'll really benefit from it the most. Even health conscious individuals, parents, and caregivers would be interested in reducing exposure to germs. So people like me, more people that are more germaphobes, like keeping their hands clean, or even parents, right, that want to like not expose their kids or their children to like germs and bacteria and that kind of stuff. So I think that could be another hit target audience right there. And technology users and enthusiasts would also benefit, along with employees in workplaces where devices are shared. Educational institutions could use this information to promote better hygiene among staff and students. So I think like how schools and institutions can really benefit by adapting a more hygienic policies and even implementing some sort of instructional curriculum I talked about earlier, like just to kind of educate the students about keeping a proper hygiene. Because students, I see it all the time with younger students, they're or like younger children, they're not really the cleanest. So it makes me want to be even more clean. But if there was just more of like a curriculum based on that, it could really help them out as well as they get older. So, for my proposed solution, the significance of this project lies in raising awareness about the hidden risks associated with smartphones and their role in spreading bacteria. For members of disciplines like public health, microbiology, and technology, this research highlights a growing concern that may not have received enough attention. So, even experts in the medical field can learn about the hidden risks about bacteria and germs in their work environment, or even be exposed at home. It could really spread awareness and it really open their eyes. Even though they work in like the public health field or in like the medical field, they can even benefit from this kind of information. It encourages further study into hygiene and informs policies or practices to reduce bacterial transmission, ultimately improving public health. This project addresses the problem by providing evidence that can lead to better awareness, cleaning habits, and potential solutions for minimizing the spread of harmful pathogens via technology within multiple environments. So, um, I don't want to only cover like how the spread of bacteria and germs affects people in the medical field, but how it even relates to the average individual and what they might be exposed to on a daily basis. So, yeah, it's not really just hitting that one target audience, like I said earlier. I kind of want to just hit everybody as much people as possible because you could interact with a bunch of public surfaces and you may not think there's a lot of germs, but there might be, right? So kind of just going through my preparation and process for the pre, that's kind of like what I'm doing right now or what I'll do over the summer, right? I'll probably research deeper into the issue. I'll identify my target audience. I kind of covered that a little bit earlier, just like people in general, whether the medical field or just, you know, um, self-conscious like germ people like me. And then I'll also be thinking about my content planning and strategy. I'll be leaning on my background of creating content to try and figure out the best ways of like maybe formatting my videos, whether it's gonna be vertical or long form, short form, or like if I'm gonna put like graphics, sound effects, whatever that may be. And then going into the production, right? I'm gonna try and create visual content, whether that's images, posts in general, or even creating videos. Like I'll still be thinking if I want to do like long form content, short form content. And then I'll use like create engagement tools. I'll go over that in my deliverables. Like Instagram is great for having like quizzes, polls, and that kind of stuff to really engage with the audience and try to get them, I don't want to say engaged, but they're going to be engaged with my content, right? And then also be scheduling posts across social media platforms. I'll be cross promoting across 3 different social media platforms, and I'll be scheduling posts to make sure that I'm being consistent and just making sure that I'm uploading content on a consistent basis is not just like sporadic all over the place, right? And then just for like my post process, I'll be like gathering all the feedback from my followers or participants. I'll be looking at like all the analytics and like what people engaged with, what people didn't, maybe what people commented on more on, what people shared more, right? And I'll be just reviewing the campaign reach and audience growth, see if like I even made an impact, if I gained more followers, if over the course of multiple months I got more views, likes, whatever it may be. And I'll just be compiling a report with insights, statistics, and conclusions. I'll just be looking over all my information, all my data, and just making a conclusion whether my project was a success or not. So the first deliverable, I'll be breaking this up into three sections because I kind of want to briefly just go over my three different social media platforms. So I'll use Instagram to raise awareness. I'll be using things like Reels and videos. It's kind of like TikToks, right? Instagram's version of TikToks, just vertical short form content. And I even do this on my gaming content. I use like short form content, long form content. And I think it's a very useful tool. I think I can reach out to a ton of different people as they're swiping through Reels. They might come across my content, especially if their For You page is already catered towards like, staying healthy or like staying clean. My video might be recommended to them, which would be a huge hit. And I just want to, continue to educate and encourage people to clean their devices regularly. And I'll be using a bunch of different features that Instagram has. It's going to come in handy for me. And then even TikTok, of course, TikTok is like one of the biggest social medias out there for short form content. You can create so much eye-catching videos with a bunch of edits, and it's just super addicting, right? There's so much teenagers these days, young people in general, people of all ages just using TikTok, right? So hopefully I can reach into other people's For You pages as well, whether that's using trending sounds, which is a useful strategy when creating TikTok content, just encouraging people to clean their devices, reminding them. And with TikTok's viral potential, like even just like within a short period of time, it's definitely possible. I'm not saying it's like going to be easy, but TikTok is it has that reputation of becoming like not overnight sensations, but you can come pretty popular over TikTok in a short period of time. And then YouTube, that's probably the platform I'm most comfortable with because that's where I upload like my long form content for my gaming channel. Um, just a little bit of information there. I have over 50,000 subscribers on my gaming channel, so I'm gonna definitely be leaning heavily on that experience to create short form content mostly. But if that's not really working, I could shift to like making long form content. I'm definitely experiencing that as well. YouTube is a great place, if people want to look up tutorials on how to stay cleaner, how to maintain proper hygiene, like maybe how they should be cleaning their devices. That's something I can definitely tackle into that target audience and try to reach out to as much people as possible on YouTube because YouTube is such a big platform as well. So just basically taking all these social media platforms, cross promoting, just reaching out to as much people as I can. That is basically my goal to just launch this social media campaign and just try and educate people on maintaining a proper hygiene on their devices or just in general, like on public surfaces, just to stay cleaner and prevent the spread of germs and bacteria. But yeah, that's pretty much the end of my presentation. Thank you guys so much for listening. If you guys have any questions, feel free to ask. And if you guys want me to go back to any other slides, I can definitely do that as well. But yeah, that's pretty much it for me.